Good morning and welcome to this Saturday, September the 26th version of From Sunrise to Sunset with Pastor Gene. We've covered a lot of material today, and we're going to finish chapter 20, which is the concluding stories about Jesus before he enters into Jerusalem for his crucifixion, death, and resurrection. I want to go back to yesterday's lesson for just a minute to talk about the fact that in verses 17 through 19, where Jesus does this third retelling of his death and resurrection, he gives a little bit more detail. He talks about being handed over to the Gentiles who will be responsible. That, of course, is a reference to the Romans. And he will be mocked and flogged and crucified and on the third day raised. This provides more detail than the earlier mentions that he makes of his upcoming death. And that's important as we close out chapter 20. I didn't want to let that detail slip. The next section, beginning in verse 20, is a request that comes from the mother of James and John. And what she wants is for James and John to be able to sit on the right and left of Jesus in glory. Again, a reference back to the understanding that something's going to happen to Jesus. And I think everybody in the disciples and maybe even into their family understands that Jesus is Messiah. Jesus is the Son of the living God. Jesus will be the one who sits at the right hand of God when judgment day comes. And so she wants something special for her son. She asks Jesus for a favor. And Jesus says, do you know what that will require? Are you able to drink from the cup that I am able to drink? And of course, thinking they can, they say we are able. And Jesus tells them that they will drink from the cup, but to sit at the right hand and left is not mine to grant, but for those for whom it has been prepared by God. Now, I've used this scripture for many, many years to say that a lot of people who think they know how the judgment of God is going to go, and a lot of people who think they know what God's will is, and a lot of people who think they know when Jesus is going to come back, really don't. And I don't know why in the world we pay any attention to them in ways that brings us any distress. Because the truth of the matter is God is in control of all of it, and God is going to determine all of it. And that's what Jesus is trying to say here. Our issue, our deal is to follow Jesus, to be a disciple of Jesus, and to try to carry out what Jesus leads us to do. Not to try to take a place or anticipate things that God is going to do or arrogantly state that this is it, but to bring everybody back together. Kind of like going out and finding that one lost sheep. As we continue to read here, Jesus references giving his life as a ransom for many. It's not going to be what we do. Back to the rich young man who couldn't sell his possessions and give them all to the poor. It's not going to be what we do. It's going to be what Jesus will do and what Jesus has done already for the sins of the whole world. And that's our good news. Matthew concludes this with even more reference back to the Old Testament. Two blind men want Jesus to heal him. They call out, "Have mercy on us, Lord, Son of David." And Jesus, kind of like as his last thing before he goes to Jerusalem, says, "What do you want me to do for you?" And they said, "Lord, let our eyes be opened." And moved with compassion, Jesus touched their eyes, and immediately they regained their sight. Moved with compassion. Jesus moves from sunrise to sunset.